Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel, where today we are taking a look at the band Cobermouth and their self-titled album. So, when I heard the band Cobermouth and that the lads hailed from an area semi-close to me, I instantly had to go and check them out. And this was around Christmas Day I heard of them, and I've been listening to their music ever since. I've loved everything I've heard. So, a little bit about the band. The trio that makes up Cobermouth is Adam Jones, who apparently does vocals, guitars, bass, drums, synths, and samples. A person of many talents, it seems. You've also got Dylan Plenty, who does drums, and it also says... Wait, that's only one, two... Sorry, my bad. Getting carried away. So it says on their website that they are actually lifelong friends. And then there's also Sam Windsor, who does bass, synth, and samples. There we go. How if I would read my own writing instead of trying to skip ahead. And from what I've listened to of the band so far, all three, in my opinion, are talented as fuck. They're like a very small band at the minute. Like, they've had a little bit of recognition here and there from radio stations that play metal stuff, but you know, so far they have, I think it's one album, one EP according to Amazon, and I think their third project is coming out soon, which I think is another album. But yeah, the name Cobermouth is, from what I can understand, named after the River Cobb in Helston in Cornwall. So that's what I read in an interview, I believe, somewhere. I did try to find said interview, but I couldn't find it again all of a sudden. So yeah. Anyways, with that little bit of backstory that I have been able to find for them, we'll be moving on to the self-titled album immediately, as the lads are still fairly new, as I said, so there's not like a massive discography to delve into, and you know, they only have a little about us section on their website to go off of. But as I did mention, the lads are gearing up to drop their third release soon, so I'm excited to see what that brings down the line. So, the self-titled album. It starts with track 1 called Down We Go, which is about 3 minutes and 18 seconds. And we start with slow guitars that play, and then the drums come in a little bit to accompany them, both of which sound super clean, well performed, well put together. The guitar riff towards the latter portion of the song picks up a little bit, and is as smooth as fuck. It still keeps at this smooth tone. It's a great little instrumental intro for the album. It kind of lulls you into the album, thinking you're gonna get this laid back, placid music kind of at first, and then you move on to track 2, Tenacity, which is just shy of 4 minutes 20. And we start this with a synthy low noise and some other odd sounds until the drums and guitars kick into life. And then eventually the vocals kick in. The vocals are this raw, frantic delivery. And in true Southwest fashion, there is some colourful language, and the band does not shy away from using the word cunt either. So overall, this is a very bouncy track towards the end, and it delivers what you kind of expect from this new metal with a hint of metalcore sort of vibe. It definitely is inspiration in those realms. So this then moves on to track 3, which is called Exposed, which is about 4 minutes 26, I think, according to Amazon Music and YouTube, because Genius, where I normally get my lyrics from, didn't actually have any of this band's discography apart from like one of their newer songs. So I had to watch the lyric video on YouTube and have that synced up with the Amazon Music playing at the same time, so like they were corresponding. A little bit convoluted, a little bit awkward, but fuck it, got to make do with what I got. So yeah, Exposed. This track doesn't fuck around. You get banging drums with great guitar work immediately, followed by an fuck sort of thing. The song's early verse is kind of edgy with lines like plunge into my wrist, but it fits that like aggressive kind of like overtone to the song. The clean vocals pair well with the growled vocals on this, and even the fade out slow vocals work very well sonically before this kind of like repeated line of I think I'm losing my mind kind of builds back in, which kind of gives me like these Slipknotty, Korn-esque vibes. Again, kind of harkening back to that new metal scene from the early year 2000s era. But like I say, you've got this repeated line of I think I'm losing my mind as the drums and guitars are slamming away. And then we get another chorus to end off with just a thorough banger, a very well produced track, and I absolutely loved it. Track 4 is called Another Kind of Emptiness, and this is just shy of 3 minutes long, and here we have a much different vibe. It's slow guitars, it's laid back, clean vocals, fairly minimalistic drum work. It all pairs together for this melancholic track that is easy to lose yourself in. But I must say, the guitars here are phenomenal. They do stand out to me, and they kind of guide the lyrics very nicely in the short but sweet track. And again, lyrically, I wouldn't say to expect much. It is a fairly simple track. They do repeat Another Kind of Emptiness a lot, but it is kind of ambient in the way that it's produced and the way that it's delivered. Like, it really is one of those tracks where I have had it on before, and it kind of just is a good background song more than anything. It's one you can easily lose yourself in, and one that you could easily listen to a couple of times on repeat. So it's a nice kind of like midpoint palate cleanser track after you've had like two heavier songs. So it's like soft opening, two heavy songs, soft middle, or like soft middle, I guess. And then from there you get track 5, which is Afterthought. This one is 4 minutes on the dot, apparently. We kick off with a sick drum beat and guitar riff before it drops back, and the vocals kick in. Again, a raw, frantic-ish style that quickens in pace more so as it goes on. The lyrics are easy to follow for the most part. I particularly liked the delivery of scum-sucking bottom feeder narcissistic bloodsucker. I just like how they delivered it, like the almost that bouncy cadence on the delivery was kind of cool. It's simple yet effective as well. There's also Hopeless, I'm Losing Focus, My Magnum Opus, This Plague of Locusts, Block Out the Sun. Might be The Plague of Locusts, not This Plague of Locusts. I might have miswrote that, but that gets repeated a few times, which again, I quite like the delivery of and the style of. It's a very solid track overall. It's definitely one I'd recommend listening to. There was a lot I could have maybe pulled out, but I didn't want to go too overboard, because obviously I don't want to ramble on. And these are fairly shortish songs, and I'm more here fucking with these guys for their like sound more than the lyrics at this point. I'm sure obviously some of their other songs I have listened to and I have looked into, and they have a bit more interpretation points, I guess you could say, for the lyrics and the nature of the songs. But this here kind of is just like that sort of like new metal, like I said, Slipknot, Korn, almost sometimes like falling into that Left to Suffer sort of like area, and it's kind of just like a little bit of anger and aggression and just vibes to fuck out with. But after that, as I say, we move on to track 3, which is called No More. I have an itch on the back of my fucking neck. This is about 3.5 minutes long. This is an aggression-filled track with some vocals like Korn's, almost like a scatting delivery, or similar to that of Taylor Barber's, with the way that he'll like like deliver lines like that. The lyrics are delivered quickly with relentless fashion. The drums pound away, and it's over, sadly, really quickly for a track that's about 3-ish minutes. This is one of those songs that I found myself wanting a little bit more. Like, it could have been 4.5 minutes, like, and I would have been like, still too short. I was fucking with this track way harder than I thought I did. Like, I did listen to this one 2 times back to back, actually, for this one. No more so for the fact that I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything because I got so lost in it the first time, which is something I tend to do quite a lot with these reviews, with artists that I kind of am vibing with at the time. So from No More, I don't know what that was, we move on to track 7, which is Mercy Kill. This song is just shy of 5 minutes. 5, you can see that down there. Guitars twang away before picking up with drums and all in tow. Again, vocals are crisp, cleans are used well and to effect in the chorus part, whilst we also see the word cunt come back into play again. The lyrics are definitely that of a pissed off nature, and I love it. This is that kind of vibe, perfect for like people who want like that sort of like angry like gym workout or like high BPM running sort of vibe. Like, I could see myself, you know, whacking this on if I was to go to a gym instead of just doing shit at home. But from there, we are on to the final track, which is called Starlight. Now, this is 5 minutes 13, I think. And again, it's a slow, somber start to this track with guitars just lightly doing their thing in the background. It eventually picks up after a minute with groovy bass lines coming in, drums joining the fray, slow, somber vocals, and the bass gets like this almost like bass line solo, which I thought was kind of cool. And then it all comes back, gives us some more lyrics that feel like they're like dwelling on a loss of a loved one or something, maybe. I'm not fully sure. It just gives us this slow, chilled out outro after, again, a few more heavy, aggressive tracks. It was well crafted, well put together. And I think the way that they broke the album up with slow track, 2 heavier tracks, slower track, 2 heavier tracks, slower track sort of thing was a nice touch. It kind of keeps the pace like flowing almost. It's like you start off down here, then you kind of like peak, and then you slow, and then you peak again, and then you kind of like slow. And yeah, it's an interesting way to do it, because like some bands you see, they'll put like their slower songs like 2 or 3 at the start, put their best songs in the middle, and then put some of their like weaker songs at the end of an album, or vice versa. Whereas these guys, they kind of, even with like their slower tracks here, don't have a bad song. None of these songs were skippable for me. Even the instrumental, I have listened to several times. I go back. Sometimes if I'm in the mood, I just put that instrumental track on. Like, it's easy to vibe out to. So yeah, very well thought out album in terms of like track layout and composition. I really enjoyed that. As like someone who likes to listen to from cover to cover, I do appreciate a nice thought out track list. So my final thoughts overall, Cobermouth, they're self-titled, is a doozy of an album. There's a little bit of something for nearly everybody on here. Like if you like slower tracks, you've got that. If you like heavier tracks, you've got that. If you like aggression, there's that. If you like somber, like thought-provoking pieces, like Starlight might be, there's that. And again, this is a fairly new band, so they're still growing, they're still expanding their soundscape, they're still finding their footing, and they're still releasing stuff. And I know they've got, like I said, I don't know if I think it's an album coming out this year, which I will be looking and reviewing that album when it comes out because I am excited to see what they've cooked up. This track, or this album, for me is a solid like 8 out of 10. Now, after heavily praising it, you might be like, oh, why is it only an 8 out of 10? For me, I just wanted a few more songs. Like, that's it. Like, you know, I loved it so much. I just wanted like a few more minutes longer. Like, instead of 8 songs, give us 10. Just 2 more songs, 6 more minutes worth of stuff. But then, you know, I would have been like, oh, but we could have had like 4 more songs, like 8 more minutes worth of music. But beggars can't be choosers. Sometimes it's that nice to have a little of a good quality rather than a lot of a poor quality, which I have found with some stuff. Like The Weeknd's newest album, 20 odd songs, and I didn't vibe with any of them, and I normally like his music. That was a letdown. I was going to review it, but I don't know if I want to sit through that for a second time because I nearly blew my brains out. That is a joke. I did not, but you know, that's how dull I found the album. So, for Cobermouth self-titled, what are my 4 top tracks? For me, simple. You've got No More in number 1, Another Kind of Emptiness in number 2, Tenacity and Starlight. These 4 really encompass the sound of this album, and they kind of showcase what I deem to be all of the best qualities of the band so far. Obviously, from an early standpoint, we do have more to come. We have, like I said, there is another EP you can listen to. They have a song where there's a feature on it. They have some other content which is a bit more aggressive, a bit more almost like more raw in delivery. I know one of their songs has the word cunt in it, used several more times than there was on this album. And I mean, one song has it used multiple times. Because I thought I was hearing things, but no, I wasn't. So yeah, that is Cobermouth, and I must say, if you haven't heard them, go check them out. I am a fan. I will be keeping up to date with the guys and what they do. Yeah, solid album. With that being said, there's only one thing left to do, and that is to say, stay safe out there, my friends. Goodbye.